Well, hi there. My name's Robert Hamaker, and this is a short video I'm going to show you about singing bowls. I'm a percussionist by profession, and so I thought I would share with you some approaches I have as a percussionist that might be different from people who normally would pick up singing bowls for meditation or healing. I treat these as a musical instrument, which they are. The Tibetan singing bowls, which are made of brass alloy metals, are probably one of the most thought about when we say, singing bowl. The singing bowl seems very etheric, very mystical to us because of the way the sound's generated. Usually we would think of striking instruments in percussion, but this is more like how you play a violin. You would just rub the mallet around it to get the sound. So that creates a source of sound that is somewhat mysterious, because we don't associate what's generating the sound, even though it's just like a violin with a bow, really. It's just by friction. So not so mysterious, but the sound is quite amazing. I want to show you one thing about this Tibetan bowl. Is a good one to show you with how you can get different overtones from a bowl. Notice what I do, go to a different type of stick and move my fingers a little bit. To get a higher overtone. On a good day I can get a third. You can hear it a little bit. But anyway, because these are layered metals, you can get different tones out of them. Some of them do that. Some of the cast, like this is a Vietnamese bowl that's a cast metal, so it doesn't have the layers, so I can't really get the overtones on this. But the better bowls you can actually play with by moving your hand up and down and going to different strikers. You can pull different sounds out of the bowl. So you might try that. That's something that I discovered that is useful, especially when you don't have a lot of bowls. Like I don't have a lot of them because they're expensive. So I try to get as many sounds as I can out of them. So those are the Tibetan bowls. Also we have fairly recently these crystal bowls. These are made of quartz crystal. They actually came out of the computer industry. Interestingly enough, this particular version of it, they used to grow the silicone for computer chips in these because it could get very hot. In fact, it takes about 4,000 degrees to form one of these bowls. And they make a wonderful sound. So I have a couple of these. But I'll show you actually something I learned about how you can tune them, because I found in some projects I'm doing and wanted more than just 2 pitches. So there's a pretty simple way to get more frequencies out of one bowl, and I'll show that to you in a moment. But interesting to me now, if you don't have a crystal bowl and you don't have the $300 or so that they want for these things, you might have some crystal around your house, like a crystal wine glass, maybe even a crystal bowl, and they actually work pretty well. Let me show you if I can get this one to go for you. Take me just a minute here. My fingers warmed up. Right, so that's just a wine glass, but it's got to be crystal, so it has that ring. Now I was telling you about tuning it, so I can show you with this pretty easily. If I just put water in it, or if you like wine or whatever, you'll lower the pitch. And of course I could do the same thing with these, or I can actually do them with any of these bowls. If you just put a liquid in them, fairly full, you'll notice I have to get over half full, it'll start lowering the pitch. So I can get you know, like a major third below the normal pitch of the bowl easily, to help me get more pitches when I'm recording or trying to do specific pitches I need for a recording, until I get more money to buy more bowls. Here's another crystal bowl. You'll notice you can do a similar technique on some of these with the rubbing it. It might actually work on some. You have to experiment. Anyway, if you want to have a little fun, go to YouTube and look up glass harp. Glass harp is an instrument where they take a lot of these glasses and they tune them, and they create a whole, you know, scale out of them and play traditional music or all sorts of things with it. There's a guy, if you would go on to YouTube, a guy named Robert Tiso, T-I-S-O, who does some really amazing work with this, and it's kind of fun to see what that is. It's actually a very old idea. Well, you know, not very old, but going back to the early 1900s anyway, so quite old. It's not a new idea at all. So that's kind of fun. The other thing I'll share with you that you might not have thought of is, you know, we can talk about just doing the normal routine with the singing bowl, but you can also strike it. As a percussionist, I'm always playing around with trying different things to strike it with, because you get different sounds. So from a soft sound, like similar to what I did with the stick, I can start getting harder. I'm just going from you know, felt up through the chord round mallet to down to a rub, you know, hard kind of rubber mallet. You can also, wouldn't suggest this so much with the glassware, but with a metal, you could even go to a metal striker. This is a triangle beater. You might find useful sometimes for certain things if you're a musician looking for certain sounds. So you have all these different hardnesses of things you can strike these with. Is a striking source of sound, way of making it, which gives you many different colors. So that's something I experiment with depending on what I'm looking for. And I also like to use, these are brushes, which are metal, very thin metal strands, and if I want to do something rhythmic, they make a kind of an interesting way of playing them. So anyway, I'm always suggesting you experiment. When you have one bowl or a few bowls, set them up, experiment with different ways of hitting them. I was going to show you one little trick that's kind of nice. If you get these crystal bowl with the standard rawhide stick, you may also know that some people prefer a rubber tip mallet because it gets less of the kind of overtone sound from scraping. And there's a really cheap way to do that. If you go to the hardware store and get this is like a foot to a chair, and you get one that's the right diameter to go on this, it actually works really well as a rubber tip on the mallet, which gives you more of the pure sound of the bowl. Or you can go out and spend the $20, $25 to buy a mallet that has the rubber tip. This will cost you a couple bucks if you already got the handle. So just thought I'd share that. So anyway, I hope you find some of this information entertaining and useful maybe. My message always is to have fun with these instruments, play from your heart, and have fun, because that's what will give the power that you want, whatever you're doing, if you're creating music or if you're meditating, if you have joy in your heart when you're playing, you will get more from whatever you're doing with these. So just have fun with them. Don't be afraid to experiment. I will now close. I would like to tell you real briefly about a new project I've just finished, relating the sounds of instruments, percussion instruments, because I'm a percussionist, to color. And I've associated colors with specific pitches to create tracks, up to 19 colors on this CD. Great for meditation, just great for entertainment. If you like percussion, it's got all sorts of neat effects I've learned over the years in percussion instruments, and lots of instruments on here. You can go to my webpage, islandjourneycd.com, and click on the Colors of Sound tab to learn about that. Might be something you're interested in. It would help me fund my further projects. I'd love to buy a bunch of crystal bowls. I'd like to get all 12 pitches of them eventually for my next project, but that takes quite a bit of money. So maybe if you like the work I'm doing, maybe you think about supporting me so I can step up to the next project. I'd also ask you to notice this great background I'm sitting in front of, and I'd like to mention that my backyard here, the wall of my backyard, my house here, was a mural painted by Erin Castellan, and I'll put her information how to look at her web page in case you ever want to have an amazing artist do some work like this. She's incredible. So I'll put that in the credits at the end. And I'll close now and play a track off of my new CD, which uses a lot of these singing bowls, just as for you to see how I used them. And it's for the color violet. If you know your chakras, it's for the crown chakra, the top of your head. So thanks for your time today. I hope you found this useful. And if enough people find this entertaining and watch it, I'll do something else in the future. So thank you. Namaste. Have a great day and enjoy Violet.